The analysis that is being conducted for the purpose of, investigative guidance, criminal investigation or terrorist investigations.
So, in other words, if...
Okay, we're going to jump away from this cross and talk about it a little bit because, as I mentioned in the last hour, some of the jurors are getting sort of tired of this testimony. Several of them are yawning. Jason Johnson, you're my court observer. You're sitting here going, I just don't get it.
It makes absolutely no sense, and I don't think it was smart for the prosecution, but the defense isn't even using it. I mean, the guy's sitting up here droning on and on about his resume. It's like a staff meeting. I'm in this club, I'm in that group, and none of that means anything to the jurors who really are just trying to decide, look, can you say anything about this voice, and then can we use that to determine whether or not Zimmerman's guilty? That's what this is about.
But when all is said and done, during the hour that this man has been testimony, it's kind of boiled down to, no, I can't expertly testify as to whose voice was on that 911 call. But if a family member got on the stand, they may be better able to tell who was screaming on that tape. Right, Paige?
Right, and so that's basically a one-question cross-examination. Is that your opinion? Yes, sir? No, sir? And then sit down. I really don't see from the defense standpoint the purpose of dragging out his credentials over and over again unless you're going to use this witness to support something later in your case once you get a chance to call witnesses.
And Sonny, is that sort of in your mind too?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me, at least with Attorney Don West, he doesn't have the best sense of time in the courtroom. I will tell you from experience, when you are in the courtroom, it's almost, you're so in the weeds, you're in a vacuum, and you're so in the zone that sometimes you don't keep your hand on the pulse of the jury, on the court, on the court. And it just seems to me, given the fact that he gave almost a 3-hour opening statement that was a bit rambling, starting with that knock-knock joke heard around the world. He cross-examined Rachel Jeantel in a way that many people found offensive. Now we have him sort of, again, keeping a witness on the stand a bit too long. Sometimes as a trial attorney, you are just so in the zone, you lose your sense of the courtroom. And I'm sure Paige may or may have not had that experience. I know I had it early in my career. And so, I tend to think that that's what's happening with this defense attorney.
We were all expecting this morning, Paige, that the prosecution would put on one of the more exciting witnesses, and that would be Detective Serino. Detective Serino initially questioned George Zimmerman. His initial thoughts were to charge George Zimmerman with manslaughter, and you were surprised that that witness wasn't put on the stand first.
I was surprised. Again, trials are a lot about momentum, and when the defense ended so strongly on Friday, I expected early Monday we would hear from a strong prosecution witness that clearly supported their theory. You've got the jury's attention. They're awake. They've been away all weekend. They're ready to hear testimony. You start out with something this dry and somewhat confusing to the jury, you're going to lose them the rest of the day, perhaps.
Okay, so while that testimony goes on, of course, we'll continue to monitor the witness in the Zimmerman trial, but there is another big story we're following this morning, and that would be the tragic deaths of 19 elite firefighters